We're good now.
Mike.
Welcome, everyone. Please stand and join us with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Again, welcome. Great turnout. My name is Todd, and I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is July 31st of 2018. Welcome to the 7 p.m. Thursday night meeting, the Treasure Map group of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. Before we start our evening, please remember to turn off or shut off your cell phones or silence them. Thank you. We send a special welcome to any visitors from out of town. Is there anybody from out of town tonight?
I'm Paul, alcoholic from Minneapolis.
Hey, Paul. Welcome. Also, is there anyone who is visiting the Treasure Map meeting for the first time? Please stand and. Nice. Thank you. You guys are the most important people that are here tonight. Finally, is there anyone here who was at their first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous? Please stand and be recognized. Okay, we are happy. Let's see, let me skip that. Okay, the Treasure Map group of Alcoholics Anonymous believes in working the 12 steps as outlined in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. With a sponsor, there are many home group members here tonight that are willing to be sponsors. If you are new or if you don't have a sponsor, you can stop at the side table over here and during the break, and someone will be there to take care of you there. They'll give you the names and numbers of people that are willing to be sponsors. Tonight is birthday night. The Treasure Map group of Alcoholics Anonymous celebrates our sobriety birthdays on the last Thursday of each month. Treasure Map group members celebrate each month of sobriety for the first 12 months, then each consecutive year thereafter. If you would like to make Treasure Map group your home group, please come over to the side table during the break, and we'll give you all the great information about that. The list of birthdays we will be celebrating this month are, let me see, am I jumping ahead here a little bit?
Yep.
Okay, we'll get back to that. If you're having a birthday, we're not going to forget about you. The AA Preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses or opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and to help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Okay, let's do some announcements here. I got a few of them. This weekend on Sunday is the North Dakota Young Groups AA up in Bismarck. So If you're missing the snow and everything, because we haven't had it for a while, you might want to go up there and check that out. The treasure map meeting, let's see, what is that? Treasure map meeting is co-sponsoring a bus trip to the International AA Convention, July 2nd through the 5th, 2020. I think well, we don't have tables tonight, but if you want some information about that, yeah, we've got some flyers over on the side table. That's a very important table. We are going to have a group conscious meeting for Treasure Map on Thursday, June 27th. If you are a member and would like to be involved with that, please show up. This Sunday, Young Guns is having their 12th anniversary. It's at the Episcopal Cathedral, downtown Sioux Falls. District 5 Corrections and Treatment Committee, we're always looking for people to go to the jails, work release center, penitentiary. A background check is required. Minimum of 3 months of continuous sobriety. Contact Matt M at mcexpert.com. May 12th at 4:30 at Westside, 4:30 p.m. at Westside is the Fall 2020 Conference meeting. And lastly, I'd like to thank everyone for attending our Working the Steps workshop we had. It was a great turnout, and it was just a really, really good time. Details on our next workshop coming up on steps 10 through 12 is to be determined, but we'll be definitely having one because there was a good turnout for that. Now, if I could introduce Chris to come up and read how it works. Pages.
Hey. My name's Chris Dahlheim. I'm an alcoholic. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not give themselves completely to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. They are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideals, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power, that is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1, we admitted we are powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all of these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Many of us exclaim, "What an order, I can't go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic, and the personal adventures before and after make clear three pertinent ideas. A, that we are alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he were sought.
Thanks, Chris. We're working you back into this again. Now, please let me welcome Peter to read the 12 traditions as we pass the baskets. Thank you in advance for your generosity and support. Tradition 7 states every AA group ought to be self-supporting, declining outside contributions. All right.
All right, thanks. All right, 12 traditions. Number 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on AA unity. Number 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. Number 3, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. Number 4, each group should be autonomous, except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. Number 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Number 6, an AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. Number 7, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. Number 8, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. Number 9, AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. Number 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. Number 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. Number 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities.
All right, we talk a lot about home group membership at the Treasure Map Group because we believe it is vital to our recovery. What does it mean to be a home group member? Here's a brief excerpt from the AA General Service Conference approved pamphlet on the AA group. Traditionally, most AA members through the years have found it important to belong to one group that they call their home group. This is a group where they accept service responsibilities and try to sustain friendships. And although all AA members are usually welcome at all groups and feel at home at any of these meetings, the concept of the home group has still remained the strongest bond between the AA member and the fellowship. With membership comes the right to vote on issues that might affect the group and might also affect AA as a whole, a process that forms the very cornerstone of AA's service structure. As with all group conscious matters, each AA member has one vote, and this ideally is voiced through the home group. Over the years, the very essence of AA's strength has remained with our home group, which, for many members, becomes our extended family. Once isolated by our drinking, we find in the home group a solid, continuing support system, friends, and very often a sponsor. We also learn firsthand through the group's workings how to place principles before personalities in the interest of carrying the AA message. Talking about her own group, a member says, "Part of my commitment is to show up at my home group meetings, greet newcomers at the door, and be available for them, not only for them, but for me. My fellow group members are the people who know me, listen to me, and steer me straight when I am off in left field. They give me their experience, strength, and AA love, enabling me to pass it on to the alcoholic who still suffers. If you're interested in making the Treasure Map meeting your home group, please see that all-important side table over here during the break or after the meeting." Okay, birthday night. We've got a few of them lined up here. We will just go ahead and get started. Our first AA member with a birthday tonight is Brian D. with 2 months. Come on up, Brian.
My name's Brian. I'm an alcoholic. I've been in and out of these doors for quite some time. What's different this time, I think, is getting involved and getting active in AA. Before, I thought, well, when I first came here, I did everything I could to figure out how I didn't fit into these rooms and how I didn't relate to these people. And now I embrace them. I've learned a lot in these last 2 months by actually opening up and speaking to people and getting involved and active. And getting that thing they call a sponsor, that's helped out huge. A lot of my prayers in the morning have been to make my first thought my second thought, and until that happens, I really need to be working these steps and meeting with my sponsor. I can't believe how much I've grown in these last 2 months. My ability to hold my head up and look someone in the eye now, my ability to be honest, that's a whole new concept for me. I used to lie about lies to cover lies. It was like another full-time job for me. Now I don't have to, and that's why I keep coming to these rooms. I can be open and honest with people and let them know what I'm going through because they've walked the path before me. I owe it all to my higher power, this program and the men and women who come before me, and good sponsorship, I guess. I'm incredibly grateful, and I thank you all for being a part of my recovery up to this point. Thanks.
All right, next we have Matt with 4 months.
Hi, my name is Matt, and I'm an alcoholic. I was sitting there, sort of nervously thinking what I was going to say when I got up here, and I didn't come up with anything really, really good yet, so I'm just going to wing this here. I had a substantial period of sobriety, and then I ended up relapsing, and at first I thought, I just, I ruined all this, and I felt like it wasn't worth, not that it wasn't worth continuing on the journey, but that I just felt like I had just, I was just really, really upset, I guess, to put it mildly. But I think what has really continued to be different now is that I really cherish each day that I am sober. I took for granted my sobriety at one point in time, and that led me down a path where I thought that I was somehow better or had all the answers, or I had this thing under control, and I was sorely mistaken. But so this time I really do, take them on one day at a time, with good sponsorship, great sponsorship. My higher power and this awesome home group and all of you, I think that's why I know that's why I'm here today. So thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Congratulations. And congratulations to you too, Brian. Next, we have Brandon with 5 months.
I'm Brandon. I'm an alcoholic. I just think it's such a blessing I'm here tonight to be able to accept this chip. I never would have thought I'd had 5 months of sobriety before. When I thought of AA before, I thought it was a bunch of old guys sitting around a table talking about their problems or whatever. And I got into AA and I realized there's so much more here. I just thank God every day that He brought me into these doors, because I was definitely a mess before. But thanks to people like you, I've been able to stay grounded and see some truth about myself. I've been able to grow in that sense, and I'm very grateful for that. It just baffles my mind how simple of a program this really is, but how this is the hardest work I've ever done in my life. It's not easy, it's not all rainbows and sunshine for me every day, but there's definitely something here I'm willing to keep coming back for. Thank you.
Congratulations, Brandon. Next, we have Kevin with 6 months.
Appreciate it. Ooh, nice. Hi, Kevin, alcoholic. So 6 months of sobriety, I would have never guessed that I'd be sober for 6 months. And I don't think I would have without coming to AA meetings. Actually, I know I wouldn't have. Like Brian said, I can't believe how much I've grown in 6 months, how much I've learned about myself in 6 months. I had a lot of catching up to do because I didn't do a lot of soul searching or much thinking in my drinking days. One thing that I'm realizing about being sober, there's a lot of contradictions. My favorite part about sobriety is my least favorite part about sobriety, and that's clarity all the time. Clear mind all the time, which is great. Another contradiction is it's hard, but it's simple. It's simple in the fact that you just have 12 steps to do and to get through them and stay sober. And it's simple in the fact that you just have to go to bed at night sober. But that's hard. Some days are harder than others. I thank God that I'm here. I thank God for AA, and I thank all of you. Thanks.
All right, next we have Nate with 6 months.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Yep. Dude, 6 months. I'm Nate. I'm an alcoholic. I am accepting my 6 month chip right now. Yeah. Y'all said a lot of good things. I swear I was going to say those exact same things, but you stole them right from me. So I guess how I did it was awesome sponsorship, my higher power, having an understanding of my higher power this time around that I had never had before. That seems to have worked out really well for me. Who would have thought, right? And just working the 12 steps as they are put in the book and following the big book, I like to say religiously. I get to make my first amends tomorrow. So I am pretty stoked about that. I've been praying about it on and off all day long today and probably the rest of the night and then all day tomorrow and right up until the point. I mean, that's what I'm told will work though. So that's what I'm doing. So thank you for celebrating this with me. Awesome.
All right. The next one is me with 10 months. I'm Todd. I'm an alcoholic. So, weren't you here at the beginning? You know, it's just been one day at a time and doing the steps and in the service work, mentoring, teaching Big Book, telling my story. You know, it's kind of weird. I tell my story a lot out on the street too. It's just people ask me a question. If you talk to me long enough, I'm just going to tell you. It's and everybody's like, "Oh, wow, that's just amazing. I'm so proud of you." And I'm like, "Well, I am too." You know, it's been an amazing journey, and I'm, you know, by the grace of God, I'm sober today, and one day at a time. Is just how this works. And with that, I want to thank everybody in this room because you help keep me sober also. Okay. And lastly, tonight, as far as my list goes here, we have Mark with 16 years.
Mark, alcoholic. Yeah, I want to thank God and my sponsor and the treasure map meeting. This meeting has become my home group, and it's been awesome. I want to thank my wife who's here tonight and kids too, because she's very supportive, and that's very helpful. I know that's not always the case. We got 4 little kids at home, and they're a lot of work. And so it's not easy to do that by yourself. So thank you. I don't know, this last year, I've been trying to read, well, actually more like the last few months, at the encouragement of my sponsor, to read 10 and 11 out of the Big Book. And there's a line in here that's kind of been, I don't know, just kind of jumping out at me when I read this. We're not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve, contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into our activities. I've been trying to do that I try to do that every day, but I mean, get up and to take the time to read through this stuff in the morning and try to get myself centered before kids get out of bed and we're getting ready for school and making breakfast and all that. It's just kind of a rat race. So life goes a lot better when I'm able to do that, you know, and just kind of the emphasis on, like this quote from Sandy B on the front of this, that you know, that God is the ultimate treasure, and that's our solution here, and just how important that is to our lives. So happy birthday, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. I guess we just want to take a short break. Take a 10-minute break here, and we'll see you back here. Oh, yeah. It is birthday night, so we've got birthday cake.
Good to have you, Satan.
Chicken fries.
got a month's worth of clothes. Oh my God. So I get out, I go to the water, and I put it in a couple boxes. I got like a big couple. I get all my stuff home out at one time. How do you do this? 3 pillowcases out of 9 pounds of different things? Hey, thank you. Me, I don't think I did. I don't know, machine swallowed my
Are you gonna talk? Awesome.
But they're like 9. So I usually go back with I got this one sealed in the plastic. They bought it from me. Catching up to me on the Scotty always said he needed people. If you're looking for something, he said just get on with Chris and find it for you. Yeah, brother. I've had my iPhone for quite a while. I mean, iPhone, but I hear what you're saying about it. I feel like under 2 years. Now this one's you're looking at the screen. Just the icon.
It's going to be our short speaker. She was supposed to do it last week, but we canceled the meeting
Right.
for Thursday. So just so you know.
Okay.
And then Pete can do it all the time.
Yeah, oh yeah, Pete, he's on hold. Yeah. Yep. Okay, we're back. And the one thing kind of new with this, so I apologize to everybody here, and I'd like to apologize to the people out in cyber world. We do have an online listeners, and I would like to welcome them as well. So now, for our next session here, we're going to have Amy go through traditions 1, 2, and 3 for us. Let's welcome Amy.
everyone. My name is Amy. I'm an alcoholic. Hi. Do not sit there and make faces at me because it's going to make it worse. All right. I was asked to come and speak about traditions 1, 2, and 3. And of course, initially and immediately, I was like, yes, absolutely, no problem. Afterwards, I went, shit. I get terrified. So if I start talking fast, just a heads up. You know, when I came in, the traditions were just something that were read in the introduction. I thought, you know, hey, I know what that means. You know, I can totally understand it. Tradition 3, you know, the only requirement for AA membership is desire to stop drinking. Tradition 7, you know, fully self-supporting contributions. I get that. It's the other things, you know, the other traditions that I'm just like, there's a lot of words in there. I don't really want to figure it out. You know, it wasn't until I got into the program, working with the sponsor, working the steps, that I realized that the traditions mean more than just the few little blurps on the wall. Tradition 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. What does that mean, right? It doesn't really make sense in the sense of what it says. The long form provides maybe a little bit more information. You know, each member of Alcoholics Anonymous is but a small part of a great whole. AA must continue to live, or most of us will surely die. Hence, our common welfare comes first, but individual welfare follows close after. There's a part in the 12 and 12 that I'm going to read because I feel like it kind of sums up really nicely. I'm too short. It sums up really nicely, I feel, of what tradition one means, and I will kind of go over after I read it what it means to me. Those who look closely soon have the key to this strange paradox. The AA member has to conform to the principles of recovery. His life actually depends upon obedience of spiritual principles. If he deviates too far, the penalty is sure and swift. He sickens and dies. At first, he goes along with it because he must. But later, he discovers a way of life that he really wants to live. Moreover, he finds he cannot keep this priceless gift unless he gives it away. Neither he nor anybody else can survive unless he carries the AA message. The moment this 12-step work forms a group, another discovery is made. That most individuals cannot recover unless there is a group. Realization dawns that he is but a small part of a great whole. That no personal sacrifice is too great for preservation of the fellowship. He learns that the clamor of the desire and ambitions within him must be silenced whenever these could damage the group. It becomes plain that the group must survive or the individual will not. To me, what this tradition speaks to is just this. You know, we have all these new individuals here that have come to meet us, to see what we are about, and for us to be able to share our experience and our strength and our hope. If we didn't have that, they wouldn't have anywhere to go. When I came into my first meeting at Southside, if we didn't have a meeting place, I don't know if I'd be here. So tradition 1, we have to be here, because without it, we won't be. It's easy to overlook meeting, like I don't really want to go tonight. When you come, you're sharing just in that itself that this is an important place to be. You're sharing that when you're having a conversation outside with someone while smoking a cigarette, you're sharing what this program means to you, and you may not know the significance that could have on a new person that you're talking to. Your conversation might be what brings them back next time. We have to be here for this to work. Our common welfare comes first. Personal recovery depends upon the unity of AA. And when I was talking with my sponsor beforehand, because I was extremely nervous, she actually sent me some information, and there were some questions that were tied to it, and it's kind of like a tradition inventory. And I'm just going to read a couple of them because I thought they were kind of interesting and a really good way to put it in perspective a little more. So for tradition 1, Do I put down some AA activities as if they were superior for not participating in this or that aspect of AA? Am I gentle with those who rub me the wrong way, or am I abrasive? Do I share with AA all of me, the bad and the good, accepting as well as giving the help of the fellowship? You know, when asked to do this, like I said yes, and then I was upset because I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna get nervous and I don't know what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna start rambling, kind of like I am now. But this is how we survive. Tradition 2. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. And what's kind of funny is that's the short form, it's the short form. The long form is shorter than the long form. So for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as may express himself in our group conscience. You know, I was talking with an individual during the break, and they were talking about how wonderful and organized this meeting is. You know, we have like the signs, and we have the break and the cake and everything else like that. You know, that doesn't just happen. We talk about business meetings, we talk about home group members, and Tradition 2 really is a part of that. When we meet together, we're making decisions on how to make this group better than it currently is. And it's not so much because we feel like we want to run it. We just want it to be a good place for our new members to come and find a sponsor, to find a program of action that works for them. And it ultimately comes down to, you know, getting involved. You know, this one means a lot to me. Service work saved my life. And it took a long time to realize that it's not like a dictatorship. It's not that it's coming down from the top and that we have no say in how anything goes. It's really, we as a society have an opportunity to really make the decisions on what happens with not organization, our society. We get together once a month to have a conversation and talk, like I said, to make this place better. And this is one portion of it. I'm trying to collect my thoughts, I apologize. I can't express enough how important it is just to get involved. You know, I got voluntold into my first position to chair meetings. I disliked it, but I did it. And it opened up so many different opportunities and so many different avenues to get involved. I've done GSR. I am a GSR for this group. I've done secretary. I've done chairperson. You know, there's lots of different things to get involved, and it's just, I don't know. I can never express how important it is just to do something, even if it's small. Being here to set up the chairs before the meeting starts, to make the coffee so Scott doesn't have to. All of it is just so important. Nobody's in charge. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. Nobody's going to make demands of you. They're simply going to ask you to help make this thing more wonderful. There was a part that I wanted to read in the 12 and 12, and I'm kind of debating on it, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now comes the election. If the founder and his friends have served well, they may, to their surprise, be reinstated for a time. If, however, they have heavily resisted the rising tide of democracy, they may be summarily beached. In either case, the group now has a so-called rotating committee, very sharply limited in its authority. In no sense whatever can its members govern or direct the group. They are servants. Theirs is the sometimes thankless privilege of doing the group's chores. Headed by the chairman, they look after public relations and arrange meetings. The treasurer, strictly accountable, takes money from the hat that is passed, banks it, pays the rent and other bills, and makes regular reports at business meetings. The secretary sees that literature is on the table, looks after the phone answering service, answers the mail, and sends out notices of group meetings. Such are the simple services that enable the group to function. The committee gives no spiritual advice, judges no one's conduct, issues no orders. Every one of them may be promptly eliminated at the next election if they try this. And so they make the belated discovery that they are really servants, not senators. This is strictly volunteer. This is strictly something that it's an avocation. We do it because we love this program. I do it because I love this program. It saved my life. It brought new purpose and new meaning when other attempts did not. The questions that I have for Tradition 2. Do I look credit in my AA jobs? Praise for my AA ideas. Although I have been sober a few years, am I still willing to serve my turn at AA chores? Do I criticize? Or do I trust and support my group officers, AA committees, and office workers, newcomers, old-timers? It's really easy to get involved and think that you are always right. And in the 12 and 12 in Tradition 2, it talks about elder statesmen and leading deacons. And I think that's something that's really important to take a look at. And if you've never really had the opportunity to, I do recommend it with a sponsor to kind of see what happens if I get involved too much and too long in a certain process and try to think that I'm right. Tradition 3. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. The long form is, our membership ought to include all who suffer from alcoholism. Hence, we may refuse none who wish to recover, nor ought AA membership ever depend upon money or conformity. Any 2 or 3 alcoholics gathered together for sobriety may call themselves an AA group, provided that, as a group, they have no other affiliation. This tradition I always thought was really interesting just because in itself it's very easy to, I thought it was easy to understand. The only requirement for membership is that you stop drinking. If you just don't want to drink, you can be here. The history of it is a little more interesting. In the 12 and 12, it talks about how the foundation's office was asking for information on like who should be members and who should not be and things like that. And pretty much by the end of it, none of us would be here if they had it their way. It'd be the pure alcoholics, whatever that is. I'm just so grateful that tradition is in there, because it just means that people who have outside issues, if they just want to stop drinking, they can still come. I'm probably going to end really short, and I'm really, really sorry, just because I get super nervous. But there was a part in here that I wanted to read, and I can't remember where I marked it. Oh, why did AA finally drop all of its membership regulations? Why did we leave it to each newcomer to decide himself whether he was an alcoholic or whether he should join us? Why did we dare to say, contrary to the experience of society and government everywhere, that we would neither punish nor deprive any AA of membership, that we must never compel anyone to pay anything, believe anything, or conform to anything? The answer, now seen in Tradition 3, was simplicity itself. At last, experience taught us that to take away any alcoholic's full choice was sometimes to pronounce his death sentence, and often to condemn him and to endless misery. Who dared to be judge, jury, and executioner of his sick brother? Anybody who walks through the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous is welcome if they have a desire to stop drinking. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter what their past story is, what their current story is. It doesn't matter what they look like. It just matters as if they want to be here. The last little bit of questions that I will read from the inventory is, in my mind, do I prejudge someone new? Do I prejudge some new AA members as losers? When someone turns up at AA needing information or help, even if he can't ask for it out loud, does it really matter to me what he does for a living, where he lives, what his domestic arrangements are, whether he had been to AA before, what his other problems are? You know, we've had people come in and out of the program, and that should never matter. We should just be happy that they're back. Should be thankful that they've realized that we will love them no matter what. And again, I'm sorry, I ended way early. That's all about all I got.
All right, thank you, Amy. That was awesome. I will ask, since we got a little bit of time, if anybody's got a burning desire to share what's on their heart. And I think Amy's got a little more to say. That's great. Let's bring her up.
Mike asked me to make this announcement, and I totally forgot because I was really, really nervous. So Randy, who's always at the table, Randy is in the hospital. He's at Stanford. If you have any questions about it, please see Scott or Mike. Just keep him in your prayers. And yeah, that's what I forgot.
Okay, if nobody has anything, a lot of times we run long. This one will run a little short. So if we could all join hands and close with the Lord's Prayer.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom.
Whose Father?
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Keep coming back. It works if you work it.
Mike said something about a month ago about my speaking next week. Is that right?
Long speaker or?
Long speaker on step 2.
Probably is. He's kind of railroading this. Not railroading, ramrodding.
I'm asking you.
And your name again was Tom.
He told me to be out of it. I know long speakers were good all the way till like.
Hi.
Thanks, Amy.
Should breathe. Oh, you did really good. It's always good. Because Don was like, I just want 5 more minutes, and it's like 9:17. Cool. I guess I won't be putting my stepdaughter to bed tonight. Oh, God. Just 2 more quick minutes, guys. Just 2 more quick minutes. Is this done?
You can unplug that.